Start.
Good evening, one and all. I am Santosh Kumar D. I am here to give a book review on Steve Jobs' Life by Design by George Beahm. Steve Jobs, lessons from a visionary person who created world's #1 iconic brand, that is Apple. What is Apple? Apple is a multinational technology company which operates 17 countries with 438 outlets. So Apple is the world's #1 in IT service, in revenue, in total assets, and Apple is the second largest mobile manufacturing company by following Samsung in volume. Apple is, I already said, it is founded by Steve Jobs, and Apple is founded by Steve Jobs, Woken, and Ronald. These are the three persons, I can say the three pillars who behind the Apple corporation. Apple. The tagline of Apple is "Think Different." Recently posted with in 2015, their employees are 1,15,000 employees are working under Apple. Apple is the world's second largest mobile manufacturing company by volume, by following Samsung. The next, in November 2014, Apple launched iTunes. It's the online based music retail store. It is the world's largest music retail store. Next, in March 2016, then Steve Jobs, Life by a Design. A person who this book, Steve Jobs, Life by Design, this is an address gathering at Stanford University, USA, by Steve Jobs in 2005, 11th June. So, the author George Beahm. Before I move into the Steve Jobs, I used to say few words about George Beahm. George Beahm is one of the renowned author in USA, and he is a major in army. He is a major in army. So he wrote more than 22 books, non-fictional books, and especially this book have a huge craze in USA. And I can say that this book published in 22 languages. Initially it is published in 2014, then 15, then next edition, and 2016. And coming to that, lessons from a visionary person. What is lessons from a visionary person? Author George Beahm cleverly categorized the entire job stories into three parts. Story 1, connecting the dots. Story 2, love and loss. And story 3, death. So first, connecting the dots. In that, 4 sub-headings are very, very important, particularly regarding this book. They are: great expectations, cultivate your curiosity, think like an artist, think big, but start small. That's the unique feature about Steve Jobs. And love and loss. For that, second chapter, preciously, perpetually said that find what you love, work hard, start over, create great products, don't settle at all. And the third chapter, he cleverly manages by George Beahm about Steve Jobs, that is, live life but accept death, because death is an unconventional thing. We cannot manage death. And then next, last but one, deal with the reality of the situation. And then last, finally, stay hungry, stay foolish is one of the famous quote by Steve Jobs. Next, coming to that, the book, the entire summary of the book is very cleverly managed by George Beahm. He wrote this book after the death of Steve Jobs in 2011, October 5. He said that in this book he clearly mentioned that one side of the jobs, the artistic nature of the jobs, the one creative manager who inside the jobs, one of the innovator, he is the jobs. And second thing, his personal life, his career, his hard work and his quotes, and finally until his last breath he contributes towards to build a small company which took birth in a small garage and completely now it's recently Apple posted $700 billion net worth in 2016 data. So let's see lesson wise. Before going to that, this book turns poignant when Steve Jobs suffers from a cancer, a blood-borne disease like cancer. He still struggled a lot, but Jobs did not have a very long life, and his life was truly well lived and well lived, and up to the last breath, he entire his life contributes towards to build such an iconic brand, Apple. Coming to the chapter wise, first chapter, Great Expectations. Initially, he is in 24th February 1955. Jobs born in California, USA, and he went to Stanford University to study. Next, cultivate your curiosity. How? Jobs said that my curiosity and my institution turned out to be a priceless later on, said by Steve Jobs. That is mentioned by George Beahm very clearly. Next, coming to that, the second chapter is very important. That is, think like an artist. Why? Because that was the time there are many companies operating in the world like IBM, Hewlett Packard, HP, but Hewlett Packard, HP. So what it means think like an artist? It means believe yourself, be creative and do whatever you want. Why? Because in that book, Steve Jobs said that artistic is sensibility and artistic science his work, who determines about himself and who spends a lot of time to build an iconic brand. Next, think big but start small. Why? Because he think his visionary is forecast the future and he want to build such a big brand, but he never hurried about the idea. He wait for a long time to build such a brand. I think Apple took almost 2 decades of time. It's almost equal to 20 more years. The next chapter 2 said that love and loss. Steve Jobs loved his wife. He really loved his daughter. He was mad to see without seeing his daughter. So it says that a person who need to have a love heart. He used to manage both the professional work and family. The next, work hard. Work hard until you reach the goal. So what it means? And then next, create great products. How we can create great products? By just love the work. Before you start the work, just see, is it right? Is it good? Is it enough? I can damnly say that it definitely work in your future. Example, and don't settle until you reach your final destination, until you satisfied with the work. Not at all use it to settle. Don't settle. Why you settle? Just think that if Job after Apple 1, if he settled and we can't see till now Apple 2, then Apple 2 he wants to do something. Then he starts iMac, iPad, iPod and iPhone. For up to the iPhone, if he settle at any stage, he may be drop out. But he doesn't settle. He doesn't feel. He wants something different, which change the entire world. That's why still Apple have. There are every year 1 billion subscribers are adding to Apple iTunes. The next, live life, accept death. Steve Jobs suffering from a severe tumor cancer. Initially, the cancer caught by the doctors, and doctors said that Steve Jobs, you have a cancer, so if you go for immediate surgery, it save your life. But what did Steve Jobs? Steve Jobs postponed the surgery and he patiently only concentrated to build a iconic brand. Of course, it creates huge loss to the Steve's. What happens? If that day Steve Jobs decided to do surgery at that time, I can probably say that still Steve Jobs with us. Unfortunately, Steve Jobs died on October 5th, 2011. Why? Because the only reason he just postponed the surgery. It causes huge to the entire world. We missed a person. We missed a great human person. We missed a great artist. We missed a great person, a CEO of Apple. And then later, one day, I can say that probably one day, Job said that I have always said if there ever come a day when I could no longer need to attend my regular works, duties, expectations, and I will see. So what it happens? After that, the day comes. Unfortunately, the day comes, and October 5th, we missed one of the great person who died. After that, Apple took by, it means next, the CFO of the company, Tim Cook, became the CEO of Apple after the death of Steve Jobs, and till now he continued his operations and he continued the legacy which is shown by the Steve Jobs. Why? Because he continued the legacy. Why? Because he closely with the Steve Jobs and he understand, because Steve Jobs is just like a friend to him, not a boss. So he know what the Steve Jobs expectations to give an Apple to the entire world. So that's what I need to conclude this part. That is, the later Apple, Tim Cook, he personally said that in some interviews, we missed one of the great creative artists, but I'm the responsible person to continue the legacy of Apple, like think different. So I hope you understand the book review which is given by me regarding the book Steve Jobs Life by Design. And thank you for watching this video. I am Santosh Kumar, this is signing out.